Welcome to Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. Hello, I am Darren Bodecker, and getting out of the now, and let's dive into the madness, or the cool, calm rivers of, the slightly off center. On today's show, I have Tom Clark. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Awesome. All right, this is the tech part. You look very nice. All right, so that's good. Tom Clark. All right, so we first meet at the 2000 Comedy Fest or 2001, 2002 Comedy Festival?
I think it was the 98 Comedy Fest.
So there was a 98? I thought it started in 2000.
No, it was 98. I did it 98, 99, 2000, 2001.
Oh, okay, so it was 4 years. Me and my memory and math. Okay, right. And so did you meet me at first when you first saw me as Ectomorph?
Right.
Right.
Maybe before that at Elevated, too, in Chicago.
As Ectomorph or my stand-up?
Might have been solo. It might have been, or maybe it was one of those HBO Aspen comedy auditions. Remember when they used to do the 2-minute sets and you'd wait in line?
You know what I did? I was in line. No, might have been close to each other in line, and everybody was waiting, and it was very, very long, and it was going into Zanies, so it was all outside like we were waiting for Star Wars in 1977 or something. And, after like a couple of hours, I don't know, I just decided to walk away. I didn't even do the audition. I didn't want to do 30 seconds. I'm not a good 30-second comedian.
Right.
My shit, to be honest with you, you need a clean 5 minutes to get used to this guy. I'm not fast out the gate. So my Conan set would be the whole 5 minutes of them going, "Oh, I just was getting to like him, but he wasn't really doing any jokes yet." I'm ready to laugh, and then and that's me. So it'd be just one big build up. So, but anyways, 30 seconds, yeah, and I walked out, and I guess it could be interpreted as two ways. Maybe also on the other side, maybe my fear that I would be rejected because I really am not a 30-second comedian, and it's like, How am I gonna really blow it out for people who are going, okay, next.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that is, but they did that for Last Comic Standing. They do it for America's Got Talent. For those shows, it's more about getting a blooper reel together to kind of look at these idiots who tried out.
It's all about looks, right? You got to fit some type.
Right. Yeah, I ended up on. I was on Last Comic Standing, but I was also on like the season before. I was on like the blooper reel, and I remember it was Oscar from The Office and the blonde woman from The Office.
Okay.
And they said to me, they're like, "I'm sorry, I'm afraid it's going to be a no for this round." And I was like, "Okay, well, how about the next round?"
Right. And then they said, "Oh, it's a yes now." That was the joke we were waiting for.
Right, but that ended up on the blooper reel, so I felt like triumphant with that.
Sure. I mean, it worked. Your line worked for whatever reason. It was the ticket.
Yeah.
Probably worked better.
Yeah, I'm not especially with America's Got Talent, it seems like you got to have a story. You got to have some, like, something you overcame in your life, some either disability or some tragedy, and otherwise it doesn't seem like it's going to happen for you.
So what is your tragedy in life? What do you, other than Wisconsin, you looking like Wisconsin and whatnot? Other than that, what is your tragedy in life? Where does your comedy come from?
I guess I don't know where it comes from. I think I know in high school I was very quiet and very to myself. So
Me too.
but it definitely isn't like a, because I always, when people would say like, oh, comedy, if it wasn't for, I'm only up here because I am a damaged person or whatever. That's what
Right.
comedians always say. But I don't. I feel like I just had a genuine love for comedy. I just loved. I remember my brother would buy these Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor records, Bill Cosby. Like it was all like these black comedians.
Big brother?
Yeah, my older brother.
So you're influenced by your big brother. Interesting.
Yeah, he actually took a comedy class right before I started it. So
Now, do you think here just a little twist of thing? If he was so like into like Eddie Van Halen and he was all into that guitar and played it all the time, do you think that you would be a guitarist now?
no, here's the thing. I don't, because he was very into computer information systems. Like that was his major.
Right.
So when I got to college, I was like, oh, I'll major in that. And I was like, this is horrible.
Oh,
So I quickly veered from that path. So it's only the cool stuff that I sort of like, oh, I'll try that. I'll collect baseball cards. I'll do, I'll try comedy. But comedy was something I always wanted to try. And I just never knew how to go about it.
do you remember
So
your
I
first
actually,
laugh?
yeah, I think it was. I remember my brother and I were watching a Trix commercial, the Trix cereal, and there was a part where the Trix rabbit goes like, he pulls off his hat and his ears pop out. He's dressed as a clown. He pulls out and his ears pop out, reveals he's the rabbit. He's like, anybody want to clown around? And then I said to my brother, oh, that's funny because he was dressed as a clown and he also wants to play around with the kids.
Right. So he's around, he's close, and also he's
So I think it
yeah.
was just the logic of explaining that joke. Like it was so stupid that I took the time to explain the joke to him. And he laughed
Interesting.
really hard at that.
So there's a kind of a mathematical thing about your comedy, and I'm saying there's a very general way of presenting it. So far, so like your bit you did on Conan, where you do the association to get a math thing.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
that's
That joke right there.
right.
But I mean, you are like that. You're minded. Your rule of threes. Are you on that tip like really hard?
Yeah, yeah, I like the rule of threes.
You ever do rule of four? I mean, there is no rule of four, but I'm saying, have you ever done a four or a five? Like Andy Kaufman do like a 10 or 11.
I don't know if I've ever done a rule. I would have to really analyze some of my jokes to see. I
Right.
think I've done some fours.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think, but yeah, I think I'm a very logical person. I sort of try to figure out, and I always try to take things too far. Like I always put myself in scenarios, especially scenarios that annoy me, like if I'm standing in line or being on an elevator or whatever.
Right.
Like, how can I make this uncomfortable for the
Oh,
person? And I think
interesting.
that's sort of like that the bullying thing probably from high school of like, how do I get it? How do I get back at my bullies?
When were you first bullied? Do you remember that experience?
I think it was when I was like 14, and
Whoa.
yeah, it was weird. It was like, cause I never thought of myself as uncool. I went to a small grade school with like 30 kids. You
Yeah.
go all the way from first to eighth grade, so you just kind of all grow to like each other, right?
Right. And you're funny.
Yeah, and you're funny, and you have your inside jokes, and
Yeah. And people actually genuinely like you and laugh at you.
right, right. So then I got to high
Ooh.
school. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just. All right. So then you're out of that area where you know everybody, and then you go into the ninth grade, I assume?
Right. Go to
And
my high
now
school.
10th, 11th, 12th, they don't know who the fuck you are. It's all about looking at, you, thinking you're from Wisconsin, clearly. And it's probably in Wisconsin, but still, that's,
Right.
who
Yeah,
knows?
I go from like say a 200 person grade school, first to eighth grade.
All right.
I didn't go middle school. I went right to high school, uh, and uh, and there's 2,000 kids now. There's 2,000 kids at this high school, Catholic school. And I remember I was walking down the hall. I was walking down the stairs. And I had all my books because I just didn't understand the concept of switching classes. So I just
Oh,
had
right.
all my books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this senior comes by and he just boom knocks it out. And I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that in movies. Like I've seen
Yeah.
that happens in movies to
Yeah.
nerds, and I'm like, I'm not a nerd.
Oh
I played
boy.
like football and stuff, so I was still on the football team, but I was like, that shouldn't happen to me. Like,
Oh,
so that
right.
was sort of like a weird moment, and
Do you
that
think it affected you for like your path in life at all, or do you think that that was just a earthquake and then you don't really think about it or internalize it any?
probably the fact that I still remember that is probably
Right. Psychologically, it's a mind quake, and you remember those really, we'll say, outrageous moments.
yeah, sort of those moments, and I think that's why I sort of react when people are bullies or people are mean to somebody. Yeah.
Was that the only? Did you after that? Does this guy like a stalker lock on to you or what?
No, it was sort of a one-off thing, but I remember then I was in the cafeteria and he was with his big group of friends.
Yeah.
I have this tendency, and my wife has pointed it out to me, that I just stare at people.
Mm.
It's more like I'm observing as like comedically, but
Oh, okay.
creepy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it becomes like stalkerish creepy. And I was looking at their table, and then they started to notice that I was looking at them, and then they started to make fun of me. And then I was like, why are they making fun of me? And then I look like a lunatic because I'm just staring at them. I'm sitting by myself because we used to have these free periods where we could sit in the cafeteria with your friends. I didn't have any friends I was with. I just had the free period. So
Right.
I'm just sitting by myself staring at these guys, and they're just like, who is this dork? Like,
Shit.
what are you looking at?
Yeah. Right. You might have psychologically fucked his head up. Like, I think you messed with the wrong guy. That's the guy who murders everybody. And they said he was so quiet.
I wish they would have seen that. And then they laughed at me.
But if that would have been in prison, he probably would have got right up and came right up to you and knocked you out.
I'd be bad at prison. I need like
Yeah. Oh, you'd be terrible in prison. You'd be, oh, shit. I could see you as a librarian getting books knocked out of your hands every day.
you don't want to be good at prison. I think that's a bad.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, I would never survive. All right, so since you bring that up, I'll tell you my first bully experience right when I went into high school. It was the kid who was next to me in gym class, and he was in the same. So we're both in the ninth grade. I'm now in Aurora, Colorado, at a place called Smoky Hill High School, and this is in like 1980.
And that sounds like Aurora, Colorado in the 80s sounds like every 80s movie.
Right.
It's like it sounds like the high
79 to
part.
80s when it was,
Yeah.
but it was 79, we'll say, the fall of 79. And I'm in the ninth grade. This guy next to me, and I've been bullied all my life, so I know him, I could smell him, I could see him. This guy's a bully day one. I could see the way he walks in, I could see the way he kind of goes through people, like just to, puff his chest up. You don't know me, I'll bump into you, that kind of guy. And then he's right fucking next to me. So as it goes, the first day they size me out, the second day they stare me down, third day then they start to do shit, and they see how far they go. So by Wednesday, I'm not paying attention. I got my hands, I'm sitting on the floor on the mat with my hands out behind me, and he steps on my hand like full on, and then looks at me basically and hey, and plays that game. Oh, I'm so sorry. What do you, basically with the face of like, what are you gonna do now? And of course, I don't do anything. I can't think of anything funny. I'm just developing my humor to use against bullies at this point. But it was painful, and there wasn't any, I couldn't, there was, so I ignored him like I usually do. Then the next day, he's kind of weirdly nice because he had stepped on my hand the day before, but still aggressive and still like just whatever. And then on Friday, he comes over to me, and it's before, and he comes down, and we're supposed to sit before gym, and he goes, hey, let's play a game. So he tries to befriend me. Hey, man, I am so sorry about your foot, da-da-da, blah, 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 very apologetic. And I want to accept it. I just want to take it, even though I can see and tell this guy's, just a bully and whatever. And so I was like, okay, so let's play a game, and let's see who can whisper the softest in each other's ear. And they're like, I'll start. And then he goes in my ear and he whispers, hey, what's going on? And then he's like, okay, now you whisper in my ear. And so it was I've never played this game before. I've never heard of this game before. It seemed very weird because, I would think he could just whisper almost nothing and it would be better than the whisper he just did. So anyways, then I basically whispered the same exact thing that he said, because I don't know the rules. Maybe you're supposed to, this is the catchphrase, like all y'all in free, but I'm supposed to whisper, hey, how are you doing over there? And so I did a little softer. He goes a little softer the next time, but still audibly, and I'm like, I can actually win this. I think I can go, I'm going to go now super soft. So I went so soft. Like really light, but still sound enough. And then he goes, okay. And then he gets in my ear. And he just goes, what the fuck? Just, and he blows it out. Like he's got his hands cupped there like he's about to give the softest whisper. And then he fucking blows my eardrum. Like seriously, pert near damage. I don't know. I haven't swam the same since. But...
Do you think there's some class that police take that, these techniques, like some sort of torture camp? Like, remember the one, I had this one where it was like, hey, if your hand's bigger than your face, you have cancer.
Oh.
And up and boom.
Right. Yeah, that could be a bully or just a prank.
Right. It's like, you're so stupid, but how do you know?
Right.
Just the one thing, how do I injure someone and trick them into doing it?
Sure. Just like a Hertz donut. Hey, you want a Hertz donut? You like donuts? You want a Hertz donut? Oh, yeah. And bang, they hit you with Charlie Horse your arm. Hertz donut.
Right.
And I'm like, thanks.
Drawing the quarter down your face.
Oh, no. I never had that one done.
They put ink on the edge of the quarter. Like, I bet you can't.
I've seen it. Nope, never happened to me.
I never did that, but it's like, but they learn these things, these horrible tricks.
Yeah.
They're good at nothing else except torturing. I imagine their brothers probably did it to them.
Right. Well, one of the worst ones that ever happened to me in that sense, oh, man. So these two guys walk up to me, and they were always kind of weird around me. And so this is once again high school or whatever. Two of them walk up, and they start to try and befriend me. So I want to be friends. So I'm like, I don't want to fight. So, hey, how are you doing, man? You school? You new and everything? And little did I know, one of the third friend got behind me and was on his hands and knees, and then the dude shoves me like a real hard anime type shove where your feet are falling backwards, and then it knocked the wind out of me, like, bah! And then I'm braying like a donkey. That was fucking humiliating. They were laughing so hard. It was just the most humiliating, painful, and I thought I was gonna die. I never had the wind knocked out of me before.
I have a good bully victory story. If you want to.
Okay.
Story. I never got into any fights. I've been maybe in like one fight, two fights, but this was in second grade. There was a kid, and his name is Bill Dalt. I'll say his name, and he pushed me. We were like in second grade, and we were all wearing snowmobile suits and getting out of our clothes, and he pushed me, and I fell, and I hit my head against the wall, like big goose egg.
Oh no!
So I was like, this kid's such a dick. And
did you cry?
Oh yeah, I think I cried. I think I was just more shocked. I don't think I actually did cry.
You were stunned?
What's that?
Did other people see it and you were they're stunned and they all saw it happen?
Yeah, I think a couple people saw it. Like it wasn't like I think I was too shocked to like realize like, oh my god.
Right. It's like a drive-by.
Yeah. So I'm like, what an idiot. And he just pushed me for the hell of it. Like,
Fuck.
It was just like,
oh man.
And so later that day we're out on the playground at recess, and it's all like melted snow. It's that slush, that gray slush on a playground.
Yes.
And I pushed him, and he fell like right into a puddle.
Whoa.
And I remember he went up to the nun. I went to a Catholic school. Goes up to the nun, and he's like, Tom Clark pushed me, and she just looks at him. She's like, you probably deserved it.
Whoa. Wow.
And follow up to this story. A couple weeks ago, Trump did his I don't know, I forgot if it was the State of the Union or whatever he was doing, and the nomination speech, and I said, oh, here's a transcript of Trump's nomination speech, and it was like lie, 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 and it was just that, and then he commented on it, and he says like, oh, whatever, you just want to live in a socialist country, you're an idiot. You Californians are all idiots. And
wow.
I was like, and then I just typed back, I was like, Bill, remember when I pushed you down on the playground and you fell? It's like, that was my greatest joy. It's like, you're a racist and I hate you. Like the end of, that was like 38 years later, I finally got the revenge, yeah.
Oh, that's such a great, dude, high five on, can I high five? Yeah. Like, oh, shit, I don't know where that, fuck it. That's awesome, dude. Oh, wait. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there we go.
I'm on this side.
There we go. Bat, 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 bat. All right, cool. That's great, man.
Yeah.
So he was just cutting back to how I finished that bullet. So when he yelled in my ear and he really did it right away, just like the second plane hitting the building, like, oh, this is terrorism. He's now going to terrorize me. So I'm sitting next to a terrorist bully who's going to put fear into me all the time. He's going to step on my hands. He's going to try and be nice to me. What's he going to mind fuck me with and then hurt me later with? See, permanent fucking damage, dude. Maybe. So, you know what I fucking did? I missed first period for the entire quarter. And then the rest of the semester, because he was there for the second quarter too. And so for the whole semester, I missed it every day.
You skipped it?
Every single day. Yeah. Wow. I failed PE. My mom didn't, she has ADD herself, so she didn't know what time I was supposed to be in school. It's like high school. I'm like, oh yeah, I just have. So I just said, no school till. And I'd have to walk a mile to school. This is in Colorado, down this field and everything. So every day I was the only kid going to school at like 9:15. Yeah, I got to sleep in right for me. But yeah, and so to end that one out, you know what? I missed so much that late in the second quarter, I didn't have any classes with this guy, and I always avoided him. I saw where he went, so I went the opposite ways in the halls between class, and we had different lunches. But he sees me at the end of the year for the basically first time since he yelled in my fucking ear. Mm-hmm. And he heaps praise on me because at that point I had done some funny things in classes, and I've done some funny things periodically, got to get known as like a kind of fun, Darren's kind of that tall, really tall, 6'6" guy who's super skinny. I was about 120 pounds, rocking 6'4" or 3. Right. Anyways, so yeah, he kind of weirdly admired me because I had skipped so much fucking PE, and he was jealous that I was so cool and was able to get away with all that shit. And right. So he praised me and was really genuinely happy to see me.
Yeah. It was like a rite of passage. He felt he had to put you through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's worse to get bullied now? Or do you think back then what we went through was worse?
I think now it's fucking dangerous because it can be planned. It can really be planned. Like really, they can. You ever heard of those flash mobs? Well, they can flash mob bully your ass, right? Right. So psychologically, I empathize a lot, and I don't understand why people do what they do and say what they say. I mean, really, I think I have a little touch of like Asperger's. My grandpa had it, I guess. Oh, wow. I have a touch, so it's hard for me to, like, things are like almost literal. Like, you're not supposed to do that. That's not. Why would you ever do? Why are you fighting me? What am I doing wrong? How do I stop this?
Isn't that funny? Like you said, your grandpa had Asperger's. I think my dad's 94. He was in World War II.
Wow.
And I think he has PTSD, but it's like that's not diagnosed back in World War II. But I was always like, why does Dad get so mad when the phone rings? Like he's very calm otherwise, but that phone would ring, and it was like the old school, like, you know,
Wow.
dial phone, and he would get so mad, and I think because it just startled him. And I realize now it's like, oh, that was probably PTSD. It's just those sudden noises that he just it it triggers him.
Right. Well, now technically, if you were a bully to your dad, you could be making those videos where you scare him everywhere around the house, outside, beeping horns, scary mask on in the dark, waking him up like bam.
4-year-old man, a veteran of our country.
It would be terrible for him if you were in that mode.
It'll go viral.
Yeah, yeah. If you're trying to do a YouTube channel and you needed content, and I'm just gonna fuck with dad.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. But it would be so much because it is what fucks with your mind and makes you think about what should I have done later. And when it comes through on platforms, if you're a kid now, you want to be on, TikTok, and you want to be on fucking Instagram, and you want to be on all the things that that whatever's going on with everybody else is being on, because you want to be out in the playground, right? You just want to have fun. But then if some flaw happens, if you say one wrong thing the wrong way, if you're not allowed to be a kid and not know how to the phraseology, because texts, the emotion is not read proper. In other words, the emotion doesn't necessarily come through. It doesn't come through. I mean, that's why there is LOL. By the way, good bit. I liked it. The LOL in life. But everything is a little harsher. Everything's a little harsher. So then if you say something out of line by accident, or you're saying it in, in the context of what you're thinking, but you don't know how to spell it all, and you're putting it out there, a person like my daughter she's 15, and she has a very high risk of fucking up by saying the wrong thing to the wrong person who wants to just light up anybody and everybody that they don't like because shit's going weird.
Yeah, don't you think that hurts their creativity and like their ability to just be themselves?
It changes you. We're being changed by the internet, no doubt, and it's making bullying worse because it's like a nuclear bomb going off in your mind.
Right.
Fights you can forget about, but this psychological warfare, strafe bombing your brain, and then, occasional pot shots here and there, snipers.
Yeah, plus you can go back and look at it. Like you could, I can't read somebody knocking the books out of my hand.
And other people are reading it, and other people want to join in, and they want to be part of the cool group, because the cool group's the one who's the most nasty and dominant, and it seems powerful. Right. And they're crushing a bug, which is you, saying, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. What's wrong? Why are you doxing me? Hey, stop lighting my house on fire. Oh, no. You've however it builds up into whatever, a flash mob then comes to your house and fucks you over. Yeah. I think that's how the revolution's going to be, by the way. It's just going to be a bunch of flash mobs destroying, either people or places, and then they all go away, and then another flash mob pops up, and another one. And so it's going to be all by flash mob, with guns this time and explosives.
All right. I'll keep my eye.
That's my prediction. You heard it here.
The End of the World by Darren.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about Tom Clark. So you, at that time when I met you, you were on a path. What were you doing? Were you middling, or were you headlining back then?
I was just starting to middle. I think Bert at Zanies was co-featuring me, and then I was maybe featuring. I was kind of in that. I didn't really want to move up that quick. I was at that time. I was just focused on. I wasn't planning on doing comedy full time. I was like, I just like doing this. I had a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy emceeing because I knew my act was pretty weird, and I knew it wasn't connecting with the audience that well. So, which was fine with me because I was just having fun. I was just impressed that I was actually on stage So yeah, I guess yeah, it was like MC feature level.
When I saw you, there's elements in you that are very Steve Martin.
Oh yeah,
Like
that yeah.
you have that essence to your comedy, or at least some of your bits that you can go, oh wow, that's very.
Yeah, he was a huge influence. He was the guy who finally helped me figure it out because I just had a bunch of old stand up from VHS tapes
Right.
put on digitized.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching the old stuff, I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to be Seinfeld here. I'm trying to be Jay Leno.
All
And
right.
then it wasn't really until I heard Steve Martin, I listened to Let's Get Small.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was just, and I love that album because it's in a small club. Like I love that more than Wild and Crazy Guy because he's in a small club.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, very weird.
He's got on
And
the album. It's got one of those Groucho faces, the nose, the mustache, the fake cigar, maybe.
right,
And then but it's also a wig that he's wearing on that album.
oh
Or he
yeah,
has dark hair. He has dark hair, and the mic is there, right? He's like kind of
yeah,
on the mic, and
on his face.
that
Yeah.
was the Get Small bit where a cop pulls him over, and then has him get inside of a balloon.
It's like, hey, are you small? No, 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 I'm tall. I'm tall.
Right.
And I love his rhythms. Like I think that's the thing I really took from him was his rhythms. And I remember like saying something in his rhythm and it got a laugh, and I was like, that's so weird. Like it's lyrical almost. It's like it's musical with the audience to laugh at it. And that's like Hedberg, is like so like that cadence just works.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot to figure out who I was on stage and what I wanted to be doing.
Oh, that's great, man. I love that. Steve Martin was like, the way I discovered him was I was into disco music back those days. So I'm older. So I was born 65. So I'm like 12, 13.
You're turning 65?
I'm turning 55. Did I say 65? Shit. But so back in those days, I was 12, 13. So those are those primal years, puberty's coming in, trying to figure out who you are and what you are or whatever. And King Tut, he dropped King Tut, and that said, who does this? And this album's coming out. So then I listened to that album first, and then I went back in the catalog because I was like, oh, that's funny. He's talking about pussy, and she's just like pussy. And then I listened to Get Small. And yeah, that was the one. It was just the right amount of imagination. He had all the vocal inflections. Like he did his 10,000 hours by the time he did that album, I think.
Yeah.
Because his thing was doing stand up, and then at the end of the show, he would get people to go outside and do something.
Right.
And he would get cookies. They would all go for a coffee. They would all just.
They'd go to McDonald's.
That was his closer.
Through and order out just one bag of French fries.
How could you ever do that? That to me, that's very ballsy, and I don't have the confidence to take people outside.
No, I've never. To reach that level of.
That is next level, isn't it?
That's cultdom. I mean, that's like.
Wow, you're right. The cult killed him ultimately because he quit because now I saw him. Here's how subtle he had to be to get a laugh. Standing there, just the light on him, and then the audience is fucking nuts, and he's doing that. That's where it got to. So he couldn't say a word. He would do a premise, and his first 3 words, everybody was dying. And Steve, listen to that cadence, Even
if you listen to Wild and Crazy Guy, it's like that album is like they're just cheering. It's like it's not even laughter. It's just
right. Well, at the end, he didn't know if he was funny anymore.
Right. Yeah, I want to reach that point.
You want it? I think that's no. We got to take Steve Martin. You got to go just below that.
You got to reach just before that one.
Yes, yeah. You got to do something horrible on Twitter and get a bad reputation, so you can shave off a lot of your audience.
Yeah, Steve Martin was definitely that was life changing for my comedy.
Yeah, I still see it in you to your modern stuff. I still see that essence. Once I locked onto it, I was like, because I am a fan of Steve Martin. Was the idea of Steve Martin to me was about getting on stage, so he was my go-to guy. But I honestly, by the time I started doing stand-up, which is when I was 23, I first started an open mic. I really didn't have the vision to emulate him I didn't have that kind of, I just, what I thought was funny, I had just tried it. And so I've always been in this, even till the end was.
What was an early Darren Bodecker bit? What was like?
One I know I did the first day of is that I stole a piece of comedy from Monty Python. They have this bit where they're Australians in a canoe, and then they're talking about, they said basically, American beer is like making love in a canoe. It's fucking close to water. Like that. And so I actually did that accent and that joke. It got a big laugh that I don't think most people knew where it came from.
Right.
And, but that was kind of the line, that was where my head was at, as far as just imitating people a little bit. And
I was going back to like the bullying thing of like starting comedy when we did. It's like I did that too. I remember doing a Steve Martin bit on stage. And nowadays, if you did that, comics would be all over you. Tom Clark's a hack. You did Steve Martin on stage. But it's like you're trying to figure things out. And I think, like, I remember somebody did Patton Oswalt's material.
Right.
And Patton Oswalt saw it. He retweeted it. He called out the guy.
Yeah.
It's like, and I get it if you're making like bonzo bucks doing it, but it's like sometimes you're just trying to figure things out. Maybe you shouldn't post it on the internet, but
yeah, you're not allowed to make those mistakes nowadays. So in other words, me doing that bit, if I had posted that to the internet, like if I did it recently and I posted it, somebody would find that bit from Monty Python and then call me out for stealing it, and then I get a bunch of Python fans shitting on me for the rest of my life, even though I love Python.
Right.
So yeah, that's totally true. And I knew I shouldn't do it, but I just wanted to fill time because it was a weird story, but I had to fill a lot of time that I didn't think I had to fill, so it was a last resort. Anyways, I had to do more time. You ever had to just do more time? Could you do more time? The headliner's not coming in. Could you do an hour more, please? You know, like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to start doing Monty Python.
It is like, it's like sometimes you go on stage and you're doing 10 minutes. Like, I got 5 minutes.
Oh
like,
shit. Yes.
Like you just go up there and like, I hope 5 more minutes occur to me when I get up here. And it is the scariest thing when you're starting in stand up and you're having to fill that 50, because in the Midwest we had like time to fill. Like, it's not like out here on the West Coast. It's like you get 3 minutes. Like out there, I was like, we need you to do 15. We got to fill this time. We got to sell drinks.
Yeah. Just going back to the stealing material thing, I guess now that everybody's woke, that they should never do it. So you should be woke enough in comedy now not to do that. But I'll say back when I was doing it back in the 90s, you weren't that woke still. Even though it'd been out there, don't steal people's material, and look at Robin Williams, what he was doing, and oh my God, those two guys, Geechee Guy was fighting with Ollie Joe Prater. Oh no. Ollie Joe Prater took all his jokes. Geechee Guy's mad.
You couldn't make up more names. Geechee Guy and Ollie Joe Prater.
Yep.
Like made up names.
Dude, I saw Ollie Joe Prater a month before he died.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, he's a legend of stealing material.
He was touted to me as a legend. So I was, back in the day, I was in Florida. By the time I was starting to be, I was a good, I'd been in for about 2 years, and one of my mentors there said, you got to go down and get tickets to see Ollie Joe Prater. I don't know how long he's going to live on this earth. And then he proceeds to tell me a story about Ollie Joe Prater, and I guess I could say it because he's around. Ollie Joe Prater used to go to hotel rooms. He was so overweight that he would take the towels and wipe his ass with them and just leave them there for the maids. You know, and if he's there a couple of days, there was quite a pile. Anyways, So he said, like, I got to go see this guy. So I went down with some of my other comic friends, three of us.
Like the hotel towel thing sold you on like, oh,
Well, like he's saying he's not going to be living much longer. He's like the biggest, but his jokes are super, super tight and quick. It's like he was kind of like Larry the Cable Guy type jokes, like fast ones, hard,
right.
but good. He was good. I mean, he had timing. He'd had his 10,000 hours in, and he'd stole enough material and melded it to himself. It looked like him. But he went there, so he's rocking about, I don't know, maybe 470,
Wow.
if I could guess. Well, this is down in Fort Myers, back 1990, like right that year.
The Laughing Comedy Cafe.
Whenever he died, that was right around the time it was. If you Google that. But, oh, man. So the MC does his job, right? And then the middle act goes up, whatever. It was good, I guess. And then Ollie Joe Prater's supposed to go up. And then he needed the help of like a very strong, the host, so the host had to do extra duty on the show. He introduces Ollie Joe, and then he goes down the steps, and he has to hoist Ollie Joe up onto the stage and make sure that there's a bar stool strong enough and in place, like drill it to the ground so it doesn't, break or fall. Anyway, so Ollie Joe gets up there, and man, he is so heavy. I just am thinking now, that's unhealthy. That's all I was thinking. I couldn't concentrate on his act. I was like, he's going to die. He's going to fall down right now. Because his face was weird. Like he was actually having a heart attack for like a month long. But it was so much fat, he didn't realize it for all that time. It didn't occur to him. Anyways, oh man, it was kind of scary. It was one of the more,
I heard a story about Ollie Joe is that I can't, and that now that you told the story, is that they used to keep him on stage because they had to just get him up there before the show because it took so long to get him on stage. And they just threw like a tarp over him. And then when the MC announced him, they would just take off the tarp.
Well, I guess maybe the time when I saw him, they would have normally done that, but they just happened to have hired a particularly buff host.
It's like his workout is cross.
Yeah, he was training for this day. One day I'm going to be pushing it.
You want an MC, kid?
Yeah. Yeah, he took him on the road with him. You're going to be my lifter.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Remember John Fox in Chicago? Did you ever work with John Fox?
No, I did not work with John Fox.
He's another one of those guys. He lived at where the Zanies condo was for a number of years. He passed away, but he was another one who partied a lot and just did these stock jokes and would kill, like just crush. But he was just this, he was notorious for taking advantage of the host or the feature, getting him to lend him money, or he's famous for don't eat the mayonnaise at the condo because John Fox probably
blew a load into him.
Yeah,
that was his humor. Boy, he must have really been funny then on stage. People love that stuff. See it on the internet all the time.
He went to Aurora High School and he taught a class there.
Fuck. Yeah, he blew out my eardrum, that dude. He wasn't that funny back then. I did not think that was a funny bit.
Yeah. It's funny, like those guys, like just how horrible they were and how like now, like you said, in the woke culture, they'd be called out. They'd be like, hey, he's stealing material, he's an asshole, like.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, let's talk about called out. So, one of my first year of doing, I was pretty decent, right? So, I got friendly with the other comics, and this was in Fort Myers, Florida, and I started in May of 1989, and so this is like in the late, in the winter time of 89 down in Florida. And so we got all these boys, and so we got a gig. It's going to be my first road gig, my first one, and where it is, it's near this place called Alligator Alley, and it's like in the deep back swamps of Florida, like where it gets all of a sudden Louisiana, you know? So anyways, basically Louisiana, a city that they've forgotten about that drifted down to Florida. I went to go do stand-up at the bar there. And it's one of those dark bars, pool tables in the back. It's kind of built like a barn because it's so wood, you know, like whoever built it. So I'm going to build a comedy club out of wood. Smart. Anyway, so the place was like that, but it's fairly dark. You know, the light wasn't as bright as it should be. The room was like kind of, they're way down on a dance floor that's completely dark. You can't even see, they're like, their silhouettes maybe you can see a little bit, and everything's weird. Most of them are standing up on a dance floor. And I was fucking bombing. I was just bombing. You know, every 30 seconds is like an eternity. And like, I got to do another 30 seconds. Oh my God. You know, and so I was completely at a loss, and they were all mumbly and talking, and it was getting louder. And then I was like, I don't know what you guys will laugh. I'd already tried stuff, and they weren't responding at all because they were all talking with each other. They could not give me, like I said, you got to give me 5 minutes to warm up to me. And I was, you know, so I'm in minute 3, and I know there's no saving myself. I've sunk below water here. There's no comeback. There's nothing I can't... And short of lighting myself on fire, it wasn't coming back. So then a dude, a heckler, we'll say, a guy thought he was just going to help me. He was going to help me. And I'm just going to say it like I remember it. He yells in the whole crowd. He goes, "Tell a nigger joke."
Oh my God.
And so I remember looking right at the guys in the middle of the bar way back there. There's 30, 40 people. They all stopped talking and was like, "We're here, burp." And then they all looked at me, and they really, really, I think, wanted me to do that. Like, I got the feeling like, here it comes. The first joke of the night. Oof. And, oh my God, dude, I got deer in headlights, stunned. He stunned me. He says the N word, and then the way they reacted. And then I was like, what? Why? That's a mean word. And, oh my God, dude, I froze. And then luckily the other guy came up and took the mic from me as I walked like a zombie off the stage. I don't know what to do. You know, I was, yeah. They just weren't into the Monty Python joke. Yeah, it wasn't going to save me. So
they were like, more canoe bits.
It was like a lightning rod going off through my mind where I could not think of anything funny. Now that was said and it was presented like that, and the expectation comes up. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude! And like I'm old enough to know I've heard jokes that are racist, but at the time you're so young, you have no clue that it's racist. It's just like, this is a joke because a cat box and burying that kind of joke, in the sandbox, whatever. But I mean, that if I would have said that, like, why, cats, why don't, whatever, that racist joke, but I couldn't think at all because I don't know, man, it just fucked me up. And so this was back in '89 even, where he felt at liberty enough to say that, which he probably still to this day they say, and they're not wearing masks and holding that same place. But anyways, yeah, it just sucked.
I was going to say, like looking back when I started in '94, and I was terrible. I was so bad when I started, and there was no plan B. It was like, this is what I got.
Oh, wow.
Nothing in my back pocket of, here's some hilarious knock-knock jokes
really?
Or whatever. And I always wonder, like, I think the reason why I was able to keep going is I never thought I would be a stand-up comedian. And I think that helped me in my first 3 or 4 years. It was just pure, like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is fun. There's no end result to this. It's just something I enjoy. And I think that helped me because it wasn't really until 98 or 99 that I thought, like, well, maybe I could do this full time. So I was already 5 years in.
Yeah, it just took you that long to find out who you wanted to be. And you just made the decision. Good job, buddy.
Did you did what kept you going? Like after an experience like that, like how did you keep going on stage? If you were like, oh my God, is this what it's going to be like every night? Or did you just like,
Well, my very first move was to say to the guys on the carpool ride an hour back north where we were going after that show, was like, let's never book that place again. I'm kidding. Don't, if you got I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm done with going on the road. This is a little rough. Let's stick with this open mic. So it was like PTSD in a way. Like I was always like very wary, not wary enough that I actually, had one in my back pocket now just in case. I didn't do that, but I was just wary that if those things come up, I got to figure out ways to diffuse it. So I got fairly decent at handling hecklers with my mouth. It only failed a couple of times, but I'd go as hard as it needed to be to get people to, but it had to be funny, and proper. But I was pretty decent at it.
right? I remember I was working with Harlan Williams, and this was like '99, and somebody shouted out to him like, just in the middle of it, they're like, "What's the difference between a Jew and a canoe?" And Harlan goes, "I don't know. A Jew is somebody with a certain faith and believes in like Judaism."
Yeah. It goes for the literal of what it was.
Like
Good,
he just
good.
like, in the moment thought of that and
Perfect answer.
just put like whatever racist joke that guy wanted to tell. Was like, nope. Here's what that means. And that was one of the best moments I've seen of somebody.
You were in a
like
master
racist.
class.
Yeah.
You just saw. That was fucking, yeah. If ever you can do that. Yeah. It has to be that specific.
Yeah, but you're a couple of years into stand up. It's like you don't have the wherewithal to kind of, oh, okay, this just happened. It's like you're just like, holy shit! Like your brain has to process. It's like Ollie Joe Prater's heart. It's like,
Oh my God, dude.
process what's happening.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, because I think we both have improv backgrounds, and I think we learn through improv that whatever happens, that's exactly what was meant to happen. And you roll with it, and you just sort of yes and it. And the improv crowd doesn't know that they're your improv partner,
Right.
and you pretend like, yep, that's exactly what I wanted. So I think that's where like doing improv has helped me a lot.
Did you have any legit training in improv classes or comedy classes or acting classes or anything like that as you went through?
Yeah, I did it all, and I did. I started in comedy sports in Milwaukee.
Improv?
I was in the Dead Alewives. That was with Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub and those guys.
Nice. Sketch comedy.
What's that?
Sketch comedy?
No, it was all improv.
Okay.
We did a few sketches, but it was mostly improv. And then I studied with Dobie Maxwell. I took his comedy class. That was the first thing I did.
Mm-hmm.
His comedy class. So
He's still out there.
yeah, I know he's still there. I'm still but that helped me. I think that's what I needed, a class to kind of get things going. And then I did Second City down in Chicago around 98, 99.
Me too.
But
did you have anybody famous as your teacher?
No, nobody. I had sort of all the old. I had like Kelly Leonard. I think
Okay.
I had. Who's the guy? Well, he's kind of a buff guy with blonde hair. Can't remember his name. But yeah, I had him for a couple of, and then I had the guy. I know I'm describing him, but
Okay, go ahead.
he smoked all the time. He drank coffee. Michael Gelman.
I think I remember that name. Yeah, Gettleman.
Yeah. So he was very bitter, very always smoking cigarettes in class,
Right.
drinking coffee, never complimenting your performance.
You know who I had 2 classes that was like that personality, but even more intense, was Del Close.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm at so I took 2 classes because he's just a god. And so I was through Ectomorph, hanging out with Upright Citizens Brigade at parties. I've seen them at parties, and we were at their shows and stuff. So they're just coming up with Matt Besser and all that stuff. And so, all right, let me get this straight. So, I'm sorry, I'm having a mind lock. So, oh, god dang, man, I hate having a mind lock. I'll edit this shit out, but I know I won't. So, what am I talking about?
Del Close. Del Close. You said what I mean.
So Del Close. He was at the end. He would go launch into a 20-minute diatribe of how good South Park was before class. His last week's episode, and then he'd launch into it and then talk about how the timing of and all of it. And then other classes he would describe all the different ways he has taken drugs. One time he had peanut butter that he tried to put in a syringe and put in his veins. At least that's what he says. Like, or some, I don't know. Anyways.
You're taking notes. Okay.
So, yeah, this is the beginning of class, right? Like, I don't know what this has to do with improv. One piece of advice he gave me, he said, if you ever audition, make sure you do it on heroin. And then he said, or any drug. If you have to just get high, then do that. And that's how I did all my auditions, and it got me everything I know. Damn. Now I got to get high at all my auditions. I just want to be in this McDonald's commercial, but let me get blazed up and pretend I got French fries.
Every 3 months I got to shoot up heroin.
I'm eating all the stale fries at the McDonald's commercial. Like, no, go get more fries for this. What are you doing, kid? Just playing a part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was his advice. Get high whenever you do an audition. The higher, the better. You'll pass it and you'll get the part. So,
yeah, there's a lot of those improv teachers that were like, let me tell you when I started out, and it was always it didn't encourage you to continue in this profession.
No.
And it's really, you really have to love, I don't know how it is now, but I think back then you really had to love doing comedy to keep going, because there was all these discouragements along the way.
Right.
It's amazing that we kept at it.
Just on Del Close, I was in a class where he made the dude cry, like the best looking guy in class. And he was just the best looking. He was getting all the other girl improvers were, talking to him and stuff. Anyways, he's doing a bit, and we're supposed to do, Del Close's, we're going to now do 5 minutes of improv, and you guys just go with what you're going to go. Like we're doing a Herald or whatever. And so let's go. And so and I was in the audience. Luckily, I wasn't in this bit. Thank the Lord. So anyways, still close. And we're, half the class in the audience are up there doing their thing. And the best looking dude had long dark hair, whatever. It was like just the bee's knees. He decides he's going to do a Jesus pose right behind everybody as they're doing the scene. And he gets in a Jesus pose. And fucking Del Close lost his fucking shit. He just was like, stop! Just like cut through the audience, scared the fuck out of everybody. It's like, he awakens. I thought he was sleeping. He goes fucking ballistic, calls out him for doing a Jesus pose, calling it the most hack, cheesy, just they've done, and then starts naming everywhere he's seen it. It's like, you are doing the. So he made, and the dude just starts weeping. He's weeping. God. He's truly like Jesus up there getting crucified. Del Close turned the guy actually into Jesus. He felt so bad for him, but I kind of wanted to stab him in the side with the sword. It was like. What the fuck?
Take him out of his misery.
Yeah. So, yeah, he put a verbal crown of thorns on this dude. And, nobody ever did anything closely related to anything religious after that.
Right. Yeah, nothing better to free your mind than getting berated on stage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I won't be in my head at all.
Right. Yeah, right.
I remember there was some poor kid, he wasn't very good at space work, and he's like, go up there, and I just want you to butter a piece of bread.
Oh.
Just butter a piece of bread.
Yeah.
And I remember the poor guy was like, what is that? No. What are you doing? Like, he's like, where's the knife? And where are you going to put the knife? What are you doing? Now you're going to toast it. Like, and the kid's just like, and we must have spent 20 minutes watching this kid try to butter a piece of bread.
Oh my God.
And it was just like, what are we doing? Like, what is this?
Was
Is it
that improv boot camp that the Army does to send you over when the troops need to be entertained? Shit, that would be boot camp.
Bill Murray, one of the
Yeah.
best bread butterers in the
Now
business.
get on the floor and give me 20 yes ands.
Right? Oh my god.
Shit. Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's kind of good because if he's truly making him do it, like paint the picture, some dudes, oh man, I did marvel at those guys in improv who could really fucking paint a picture with the way they move, like a mime in the scene, and made a door or the wind or an ironing board happen. It was beautiful, dude. It was
Right.
beautiful. Set your imagination alight when somebody went through a door and there was like a real fucking door there.
Right. Yeah.
Dude.
I was my big thing was I could do a can. That's about
That's 101 right there. That is first class. All right, pick up a Coke. No, it's got to be a Coke. Like this? No, it's a barrel. Pick up a can.
every cylinder, any cylinder stuff.
Yeah. All right, tomorrow for homework, we're all bringing a Coke to class. We're going to have to teach you how to do it, and then we're going to put it away, and you got to use your imagination.
Yeah. No, those are some amazing guys. I remember Rich Tallarico is amazing.
Rich Tallarico, I know him really good. Oh, man, thank you for mentioning that name. I should call him.
Oh, he's great. He's been such a help to me out here. He's
a fan of mine.
is he?
Yes,
Yeah,
big fan of Ectomorph.
he wrote on I think he wrote on Key and Peele, but he also
Yes.
wrote on Mad TV, SNL, and just one of the nicest guys.
That's
in-
great.
Yeah, you should get in touch with him. He'd love to hear.
Yeah, see, the first thing I remember about him, good-looking guy with almost my height. That's what I remember. Wow, Rich Tallarico. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna name drop here now too. My level 2 teacher at Second City was Tina Fey.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
And how was
she was smart and disciplined and wrote it right down the line like a referee. You know, was able to call funny and needs improvement,
okay?
but was a positive person. Didn't play around.
Yeah, that's how she strikes me. Is she'd be a really good teacher.
Yeah.
She knows her
Very
shit.
nice, very very nice.
Yeah.
I think it was, oh yeah, I remember when she was a teacher, and then everything that everybody, so like after class we get with the other people in class, and then we talk about the improv and the teacher and all that, and of course one of the first things come up is, for me, it was like the her scar on her cheek. It was like, and so then I think everybody's kind of like, wow, she's so great, and da-da-da, and then it gets to that, like, I wonder how, and then we're all speculating and shit. And I don't even know how I found out. It was from literally as a kid, some fucking psycho weirdo dude jumped over the fence in a playground and just randomly, with a blade or a razor, just sliced a kid's cheek who was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Oh wow.
So randomly. That's what it's the thing that makes you scared of the world, you know? Like something happened that's like a horror movie.
Yeah, you wonder how that influences you one way or the other. Of like, well, I can overcome this. If I can overcome that, I can do this.
It takes if you have a very strong mind, which I believe she does, that yes, you come through it. But if you have I shouldn't use the word strong and weak. If you have a point of view that goes the other way than heroic, it can literally cripple you to your room. Like these times would be a great time for you because you just want to be a hermit anyways, because it's fucking dangerous out there and you never know when. Look at my face every day. I know it. I remember it. Yeah. You know, so it could do that. You know, it could just drive you into drinking, could suicide, the whole thing, depending on where your head goes.
Yeah. One thing that drove me toward comedy, or convinced me I could do comedy, was when I graduated from college, I went to Mexico. I lived in Juarez, and I worked with kids in gangs. I volunteered and worked with kids in gangs, and like I did that for 6 months, and I was like, well, if I can survive that, working in one of the most dangerous areas of Juarez.
Wow.
And
That was pretty brave.
Yeah, that was really. I mean, it really forced me out of my shell. For some reason, I taught boxing to
Wow.
the cholos. You know, like it was like, and they were like hardcore. I mean, they were like, you know,
Right. All basic Mike Tyson brained at that time.
yeah.
Like
I mean, they
20,
were like
20
carrying like,
Tysons.
yeah, they carried like meat cleavers. And
Hungry. Oh, shit.
you know, it's just like, so it was like, I was like, first day I got there, I was like, oh, I'm gonna die.
Whoa. Oh,
So
jeez.
I think that moment of like overcoming that to go from that to like, oh, I'm hanging out with these guys. I play guitar with them. You know, I play basketball with them. It's like, wow, I can do that.
So you were fun. So yeah, so your son is like, let's have fun. Why would we want to kill that guy? We're actually enjoying a time. Right?
That guy's fun. Why
Well,
would we want to kill that guy?
isn't that what comedy and entertaining's about? To get away from bullies or whatever? It's like some people like you. They want to like you. You're engaging their minds or bodies or whatever in a way that they're having fun, and so you're like a fun maker when you do stand up, and fun maker when you do video, you know.
Right. Yeah, I guess it sort of puts them at ease, right?
Totally, dude.
When you're a cholo, you got a lot going on.
And I'm sure you were funny in your own Steve Martin-y kind of Tom Clark way.
Yeah, I used to play Nirvana songs. This was like '93, so I
Okay.
used to play Nirvana, and I used to get real crazy with the guitar, like sing like Kurt Cobain. So they just thought like, this guy's nuts and he's funny. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's fun. I'm not
Yes.
gonna mess with that guy.
Yeah, that's your opener right there.
Right. Yeah, that is good.
That is good. Yes. Wish I had a bit like that. Can I steal that from you? Shit. That's great. By the way, just to comment on the Cholo joke, also very good on Conan. That was nice.
Yeah.
Is there any, just going on that, can you still tell that joke with wild abandon in these days of wokeness?
I don't I feel like there's nothing
There,
wrong with
there
it.
isn't anything wrong with it, but now things are so knee jerk. Just saying the word cholo, that the people don't even know what it means, but it's some kind of Spanish word that's not your word. You shouldn't be commandeer. How dare you speak for them when you're a white man and you've been holding them down? Why don't you call them? You respect them. You know what I mean?
I had I had one show where somebody called that out, but I had another show that was really weird. It was earlier this year, before the pandemic and everything. But this woman suddenly just shouted out, "We're in this movie theater in like this suburb of where we live," and this woman shouts out, "It's like, oh, it's not funny when they come to rape you, when they come to murder you. Do you think that's funny to have them do that?" And
Oh, right.
it's like, what just happened? Like her reaction to hearing that word
Right.
and just triggered her. And I have it on recording, and it's such an awkward moment. Like
And
you
it
talk
wa-
about the N-word thing. Like this was another moment where I'm like,
That was her PTSD. She gained it from the news like Fox and Rush Limbaugh over years, or something happened to her, possibly,
right,
and like all the way up to her being severely beaten the shit up by somebody,
yeah,
or raped even. Like you never truly know what people's experience is or how they. And so when you said that, right, it just triggered that lightning in her brain, and she had to go. And it's a viewpoint that you don't necessarily think of first. First, I'm
right.
trying to be respectful, but I'm not thinking about, oh yeah, right, and there is potentials of violence and death with this. True, I mean, it's
Well, when I luckily in that moment, there was this long pause, like 3 or 4 seconds, and then this guy said, "Where do you think you are?" Implying like it's a comedy club. And
right. Brought it
he said,
back.
"Where do you think you are?" And I said, "You mean when my career ended?" And that like
Oh,
the whole
good.
and I was like, that was like the Harlan Williams moment of like, oh, I like where that came from. I do not know, but
High
save it.
five, dude. High five. That's good. Totally awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah, that was a gift from the comedy heaven.
I'll go the opposite way to an ungift. One time I was pretty decent at handling people. Once again, this was my last, 2 years in anyways. I'm at another place out somewhere and the crowd's drunk and they're going on. No, actually, I'm sorry. This was up here near Chicago on the south side, way south, like in the suburbs, way down there. 100 miles away from Chicago. Anyways, was at this club and this lady was really drunk in the. It was a full packed house. They don't get comedy there, but once a month. Whoever booked it, I can't remember. Anyways, I'm middling, so that's 30 minutes. So that's a while. So this lady just starts talking to me loud. Hey, that's not fun. It's stuff like that. And so then I'm trying to be nice to a lady right off the bat, but I know I'm I'm stepping it up. And then I started mentioning a comment that I feel like I was doing comedy and you just drove a truck and ran me over on stage. I remember saying that to her. And she goes, what, you're saying I'm a truck? And that's how drunk she is. And I'm like, and then her next sentence was, my husband died in Vietnam. And she starts crying really loud in the whole audience like she just dropped a nuke over there. And then the guy she was with was like, come on, Mary, not that again. This is the thing she does at all the comedy shows. She just builds herself up to it. But
that's her top line.
Oh my God, dude. And I don't have a comeback for that. Again, I was deer in headlights. Right. I still had to do 15 minutes. So it was like a long path I had to take. But I had the audience on my side when I really played it like, wow, that was like an extra big truck just hit me. And so I won the audience back because they felt sorry for me because she's just going off about, I didn't even bring up Vietnam, dude. I didn't bring up your husband. I didn't say nothing about that. I just said you were like a truck. And man, she just went off, and then some people the bouncers had to talk to her, and it's a whole thing. And then she's like, okay, I'm sorry. And she straightens up and sits down and then looks at me red-faced for the next, 15 minutes as I walk perilously through whatever comedy and looking out for landmines. But yeah, it was, oh man, that sucked.
Sometimes when they're drunk, like we were doing a show and my friend was talking about depression, how he was going through depression on stage, he's making jokes about it.
Right.
And a woman says like, that's not nice. That's not nice. And he's like, what? He's like, being depressed is normal. And it's like, it's like, you thought she was talking about her, and she just lost it. And she started crying and had to like escort her out of the room. But it's like, sometimes that's the thing with being a comedian is like, you want to connect with that audience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you connect too much. Like it's almost like a hypnotist or something. Like it's like, they're so latched on.
Right.
You're like, that's me he's talking about.
And if their performance is really amazing, or the emotion that she evokes in whatever way I said whoever that heckler or person who is taking offense to what you said,
right?
If she makes that point, like that hardcore point, or whatever, the audience could turn on you in a way if you react wrongly to it. So if you say, "Oh, fuck you, you cunt," like, "Oh, geez, she was being sincere, sir." Yeah. Hope you die of an abortion. What does that mean? Well, no, come on. No, you all with me on this? Get her out of here.
Yeah, that's what I learned is like, let the heckler dig their own hole.
Yeah, and then see if you can.
So it's like, don't lash out, don't attack. It's like you gotta like stay back. It's like an emotional ninja.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, let's wrap it up because I'm trying to keep on time, and we could always do it later if you ever think I'm worthy to do this again. But there's so much more to say, so many different stories. But what I wanted to kind of finish on is like, all right, so right at February of 2020, is your calendar packed for like the next year, 2, 3 years? How far do you have an agent? Are you a headliner? Is it just like you are working? You are a working man. This is your career.
I definitely had March and April, May were filled. I had a lot of gigs. I don't like to book too far out, so I'm usually every 3-4 months I'm booked out. And then I had some gigs for like the fall, like in Vegas and stuff. But yeah, I mean, my wife's also a comedian. We had all these gigs lined up for March, April, May. We book a lot of our own stuff too. And I remember we were doing a show. It was like early March, and the comic we were working with, she was telling us how she was now schooling her kid at home because
that's right.
We were still doing this show, but as we get there, I'm like, I said to my wife, I'm like, this is gonna be the last show we do for a long time.
Yeah.
And we did the show that night. It was fun.
Yeah.
But the next day we were just like, we can't do this. And then the venues started calling, like,
Boom.
we gotta cancel. We started calling venues saying, hey, we gotta cancel. Like,
see, you can't do comedy right now if you're very good. If you suck and everybody keeps really quiet and doesn't laugh, then they can open up the comedy club. But if they start laughing at you, they are super spreaders. Any one person that's laughing, it's just under a sneeze, dude. It's like, ha, and then spit, out. And there's all kinds of laughs. And that place just turns into like a COVID sauna, dude. If you had 2 audience members, they would infect everybody.
Well, and that's what comedy was built on, right? It's like, we love nice packed rooms.
Totally. You want them fucking tight in the first row. Come on, doesn't anybody want to sit in the first row? We got the first row. Come on, please. I'll buy everybody a drink in the first who comes in the first row. Whatever you got to do to get them in the first row. Second row. Come on, don't be shy. I'm not gonna pick on you. Whatever. You had to. Yeah, you like, love it. Get in there.
Right. Drunk people in a crowded room is
right.
a super spreader event.
The only person who's headlining comedy clubs right now and doing like the road and is really fucking successful at it is Donald Trump right now. He's really, I mean, like, he's keeping them tight in there. He's getting the laughs.
Yeah, he's he is like, doesn't he remind you of like a bad improviser? Like, he's just like,
he's improvising all the time, and he has his go-tos.
Yep.
And his go-tos, I think, are whispered in his ear. You know, like how Robin Williams was supposed to stole material, but Robin Williams explained it. He was such a sponge that he would just be on stage and just say it, and not really remember that he'd just heard it, you know, the night before from the opening act or whatever. It's like that shit. It just comes out. Boom.
Right. It just occurs to him. Like, you even hear him when he's making like regular speeches. He'll just like throw in his own couple of words that he wants to say. Very impressive.
Yeah. Right. Tags. He's throwing tags on. These are the tags that, do your, you know, like Steve Martin was the king of tags. Just a wild and crazy guy, dude.
Right. Yeah.
I am a wild and crazy guy. Yeah. And that place would go fucking nuts, dude. All down to, you know, Donald Trump, he says magnificent. Yeah, he said magnificent. You know.
The greatest,
the strongest, the most powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
people love that shit.
Yeah.
He's the only one doing all that stand-up. People are willing to take off their masks and go see this guy.
Right.
Like, fill a room with just all the laughs.
It's all the drunk people that were at our shows.
He's like, you know, Larry the Cable Guy with jokes. Basically, Trump is like the Larry the Cable Guy of, like, lies.
Right.
Like, his lies are like short jokes, and it's like, oh, there's another one. Yeah, I can't believe it. He's one after the other. Look at him. He doesn't even breathe. Look at that timing.
Right. And they love it because it's like, Oh, it upsets those liberal elites.
Oh, right. Well, they know in their mind that, yeah, there's people out there going, I hate him, and crying and doing all the emotional things that, like I know that there's like millions of people that actually will, for porn, what they do is they pull up the night that Hillary Clinton actually lost the race by the numbers, and then they whack off onto their computer screens at all the liberals crying in the audience. I just know that they still do that shit. That's how heavy duty it is, dude. It's to their soul. Like they'll blow a load on them because they just want to see us cry. They see they're all weak and they want to be strong. They got a gun and they won't be afraid. And so we're strong and they're strong and we're weak for compromise and telling the truth. How dare they tell so much truth and facts? You know?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's ridiculous. I really hope. I don't even like thinking about the election. I just hope it Biden wins. But
yeah, I'm a so I taught CPS. So I got out of stand up because I had did the road and I burnt out, and then I went into college and then I became a teacher at CPS for 10 years doing history, and so these, just being a history guy and seeing how things are in the now. So like history is being made every day in one way or another. You'll see some of it, but there's a lot of history being made that we don't even know about. That's behind the scenes that we'll not know about for years and years and years and years, if in our lifetime. But this is there's too many things all at once cracking the psyche of the human beings in the place called America on planet Earth. There's too many stressors happening simultaneously, and like I don't know if RBG is the cherry on the cake or the straw that does it. I just know from a history perspective, people go, "Oh, how could have Hitler gotten to what? No way, so wacky and all that." But it's these things and these ways that people justify and believe and go blindly forth. These things that lead to it takes a violent calamity in history. Violent calamity is on the horizon for this. Violent calamity. And I don't know what shape or form that takes. It's going to be weird, whatever it is. Like I said, flash mobs of little battles, and then they go away. I don't know. They battle over the mall. They battle over Dairy Queen. But there's a lot of shooting going on, and then they all leave.
this probably took a shift from losing my comedy gigs.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, right. So, well, that's the comedy that you have to observe. So you be that guy staring really longingly at those battles and things like, yeah, okay, I'm just studying for comedy. Don't worry, I'm not a spy. And then, well, this thing will break. It's just that it is foggy right now still, right? Until there's a definitive, like, cure, like a cure that we take that works.
Right.
The kind of cure that, basically 40-something% of the people will not take. So as long as it's good like that, then you can get started again. You know what I think is going to be cool about it? Here's the good news. On the other side of whatever happens, dude, comedy and going out to laugh at comedy clubs is going to be a thing that is relit under people. Some people want to experience it just because it can be done. You know what I mean? So comedy is going to be, you're right now, your investment should be paying off after this once it's over. And it should be building right now. You're probably seeing it.
Yeah, we're doing an outdoor event coming up for about 30 people.
Good.
This Thursday, so that'll be my first show in like 6 months.
That's great.
So yeah. And I've honestly just taken a break. I've done some little sketches and stuff, but as far as like, I haven't been like, I'm just gonna write. I'm just kind of like mental break from everything, and that's how I've treated this.
Well, I think much like audiences coming back, I think that'll also energize you as an individual to come back, because they're hungry for it. They're going to laugh for it, so they're going to be really appreciative appreciative. So you'll feel that love, and once that love comes back, that will energize the writing and all of it, because then your eyes will open and go, okay, this is how we go from here. Boom.
Yeah, I'm hoping it will.
I think it will go that way. I look positive. I think that's inevitable, because with the things that are so bad, people need to escape, and they need funny to laugh, to have that. It's good for you, right?
Hopefully it'll be an inspiration for all of us.
Yes. So you're like a doctor. So you're getting back to work and operating on people's brains, because everybody's getting so melancholy, and we gotta, it's gonna be good.
You all gotta
so I'm gonna end it there. Tom, dude, thank you so much. Was it okay? What did you think?
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, I loved. It was interesting. All that. I didn't think we'd be talking about bullies and all that stuff, but that was kind of cool the way it went sort of full circle.
Yeah, anyways, I enjoyed talking to you. Maybe someday to talk again, because there's so much other. There's many other stories. I'll let you do more of the talking next time with the stories.
No, it's a nice balance.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I didn't know what I was going to talk about or what we were going to talk about at all, but I don't know. It was
let me know
satisfying.
when it's up. I'll share it on my Facebook.
I will, buddy. All right, so Tom, dude, to be continued. All right.
All right. Thanks,
to be
buddy.
continued. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much, man. Hooray for you. Hooray for you. Hooray for you. That's searching for wisdom within the madness. Yes, sir. So, Tom Clark, right? I didn't know. I never know how I'm going to emotionally connect, or what's going to fire my brain up with what they say or whatever. I don't know how it's going to be. And I thought it was smooth. It was like nice. It was like being in a mental sauna and just enjoying that, and farting in there and bubbles. Oh man, you farted in the sauna. It's already here. Awesome. Anywho, so yeah, things are going weird. It's always every day when you wake up and it's like, man, what am I gonna do different? No, the same. Is it all the same? But we gotta flip our heads around. We gotta change our minds. We gotta find it. We gotta search for the good and the positive, and put it in our heads. So don't watch too much internet and get outraged all the time. Don't be outraged all the time. Try to keep your outrage to a limit of 3 a day. 3 a day outraged. You get on Facebook, you get outraged. All right, time to get off Facebook. I got through the first 3 posts. I'm off. Once a day. As soon as you get outraged, and then you're out of there. Is it so outrageous? I don't think so. 3 outrages a day. Not right now. It's like 230 outrages a day. 230, like at least one every 3 minutes, statistically. Once every, in the whole United States, once every millisecond, somebody's being outraged by a post or a meme or somebody's opinion that was not read right and was taken really wrong and bad, and god dang it, fuck them forever. We've been friends, yeah, we were childhood friends, but he said that thing, and I don't think I should never hear their name again. I'm gonna wipe out everything. I'm gonna tell the world how horrible the thing is. Well, anyways, back to the now. See you later.